two ureters, a bladder, and a urethra. Now, this is a male model. I know that because of the prostate gland here. The bladder has rugae, folds like the stomach, has a trigone formed by three openings, the two openings from the ureters and the one opening from the urethra.
Nice.
And this is a smoothened area, no rugae. The kidney is hollow. There is a hollow portion to it. And the hollow portion has a couple of areas. Each one of these areas is a calyx. And these are minor calyx. Where two minor join together is a major calyx. Where all of the major calyces join together is the renal pelvis, which then drains into the ureter. So this is physically acting like a catch basin or like a funnel.
You're gonna learn all these things.
So this is the kidney. These are minor calyces. Where they join, it would be a major calyces. Where the major calyces join would be the renal pelvis into the ureter. Blood goes in and urine goes out of the hilum of the kidney. These areas here are pyramids. And this is where you find the nephron. The nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. So all of these are pyramids, and you can see they have a pyramid kind of shape. And the apex of the pyramid is where the nephrons drain into the calyxes. Blood goes in via the renal artery, comes out via the renal vein. Renal artery, segmental artery, interlobar, arcuate, cortical radiate. Now another name for cortical radiate are interlobular, but interlobar and interlobular, and I'm dyslexic and which one is which. So cortical radiate, okay? Now they're radiating off of the arcuates and they're in the cortex. Where the arcuate artery and vein make their loop, that's medulla, that's cortex, okay, outer and inner. So here is a nephron, and let's take a look. Now this is an enlargement of one of the pyramids and the outer cortex. So there's a couple of nephrons, and this is a long nephron, this is a short nephron. This would be a cortical nephron, this would be a juxtamedullary nephron. The nephron has a capsule called Bowman's capsule. Then there is a proximal convoluted tubule. Then there is a descending portion of the loop of Henle. There is the loop proper. There is an ascending portion of the loop of Henle. Then there is the distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct, papillary duct, ending at the renal papilla, which would be the beginning of where one of the calyxes would be. Now, off of the cortical radiates come the arterioles that go into Bowman's capsule. They would be the afferent arterioles. Then it breaks up into a capillary networks called glomerulus, and then it comes out as the efferent arteriole. And the efferents will break up into peritubular capillaries around the proximal and distal convoluted tubules. Blood vessels around The loops of Henle would be called vasa recta, rectifying vessels. So blood comes in and blood comes out. Okay? Blood comes in, blood goes in and blood comes out. And breaks up into a capillary networks. There's two colors here, and in fact you can see that this would be wrapped around that. Bowman's capsule has two parts. It has a visceral part and a parietal part, just like most of our organs, right? The visceral part of Bowman's capsule, the cells are actually wrapped around the blood vessels. So anything that is filtered out is now in this area, okay, and can't get back in. Can only go out this way, and is going to go down the proximal convoluted tubule. Immediately, things are going to start to be retrieved. So at this area, everything goes out except formed elements, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, large and medium-sized proteins. Everything goes out. Now, if everything stayed out, we'd be dead in 6 minutes. So immediately, these cells, which you can see, again, microvilli, okay, are reabsorbing things. 100% of your glucose is reabsorbed here, 100% of your amino acids, 100% of your fatty acids, 65% of your sodium, 50% of your chlorine, 50% of your water is reabsorbed by these cells here. In the loop of Henle, okay, mainly we're going to be concerned with chlorine and sodium and water. Okay, and there's short loops and there's long loops. There's a shorter time to make the balance. There's a longer time to make the balance. 85% of your nephrons are small. 15% are long. So 85% of the nephrons make your 15% balance, what stays in the body and what goes out. There is a portion of the blood vessel and the tubule where they're very, very close. That would be the afferent arteriole and the distal convoluted tubule. The JG apparatus, remember that? Makes renin, okay? In response to too much sodium leaving, they produce renin, which causes angiotensin-gene to become angiotensin 1. Angiotensin 1 becomes angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2, vasoconstrictor, but causes the adrenal gland to release aldosterone, the Ra system, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone. Right? Now, so that's the JG apparatus. If we look at the arcuate artery and vein and the loops of Henle, they're perpendicular. Okay, they're perpendicular.